Hello, Miss Hessie's third period class. This is Austin, and while I cannot be there to present to you physically, I can be with you metaphysically and spiritually and technologically, because through the power of technology, I was able to record a little video for you guys. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to appear in the video. You won't be able to see my face because my computer hates me and everything else in the world. Anyways, I hope Jack and Josh and Will have done a good job of explaining to you what happens in The Great Gatsby in Chapter 6, and more importantly in Chapter 7, considering that is the chapter we're covering. I'm going to be talking specifically today about themes, and there's three in particular that I picked out to talk about. The first of which is the corruption of the American dream, the second of which is how we are disillusioned by our dreams, and the third of which is the class system in America. So, first, the corruption of the American dream. Gatsby and Tom both seem to have everything they could ever want or need. However, they feel that they need more. Not necessarily more money, just more of something. They don't have enough. They're kind of greedy. Which greed is not the same as the good old American dream. I'm just clarifying that. In this book, it seems to be that way, which is kind of what F. Scott Fitzgerald was trying to point out. Tom, of course, seeks an extramarital affair with Myrtle, and Gatsby seeks Daisy, which is perfectly fine, except for the fact that Daisy is married to Tom, which complicates things a bit. Nick represents the traditional American dream, or the way the American dream should be, as he comes from a family of self-made men that we learn. And a side note, James Turslow Adams, in his book The Epic of America, which was written in 1931, that is 6 years after Gatsby came out, he stated that the American dream is that dream of a land in which life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with equal opportunity to each according to ability or achievement, so on and so forth. He goes on to talk about motor cars and stuff. It's in your handout, which I'm trusting that you can read, but that is a very useful definition for, or I think is a good definition for the American dream. The next theme I'm going to be talking about in The Great Gatsby, specifically that we get to see in Chapter 7, is how we, and by when I say we, I mean Gatsby, is disillusioned by our dreams. So Gatsby has held on to this crazy dream he had, that he's had the entire book, that we first kind of get a taste of when we see him like reaching for the green light that's miles away that he can't actually like grab onto. But he holds on to this belief that all of his plans are going to come together perfectly in the end, and that he and Daisy will live happily ever after, and that somehow she will just erase, through magic or something, all of the previous experiences she's ever had and all of her history that involves Tom. Gatsby sees this as perfectly rational and something that could possibly happen, which really is a ridiculous notion. However, he doesn't see the ridiculousness of this because he's blinded by his dreams. He's so caught up in this fantasy he has that he's unable to see, in reality, what is going on. And that really influences the way he acts throughout the entirety of the book, up until this point. Now, the thing about Chapter 7 is he learns that it's quite possible that his dreams might not come true, and he kind of loses it and gets a little upset. And all of his entire world has been constructed of pretty much this dream he had. And since his dreams are quite literally falling apart, his entire world is also falling apart around him. He doesn't really know what to do, because in every other situation he's been able to kind of like buy his way out of his problems up until this point. I mean, the dude is filthy rich, but this is a scenario in which that isn't going to work. Anyways, his dreams come crashing down in this chapter, and we see that in the painfully awkward scene in the hotel. The destruction of Gatsby's dreams brings reality to him like a smack in the face, or in this instance, smack in the bumper. The class system in America. We have the classic struggle of new money and old money. It's not really a classic struggle, but it does make me think of AP Euro sophomore year, when we learned about the nobility of the sword and the nobility of the robe in Mr. Seuss's class. I don't know if you guys remember that. I honestly don't remember exactly where this was or when this was, but I do remember there was a big fuss and to-do over the people who were born into the hierarchy and kind of inherited all this wealth and honor and fame, even though they did nothing, and they were the nobility of the robe. And then there were these other people that went on the crusades and conquests and whatever, and they were the nobility of the sword, and they kind of like earned their wealth and fame and reputation, and these people hated each other. kind of like the new money and the old money we see in East Egg and West Egg. So, anyways, this already sets some tension between Gatsby and Tom, because Tom here is like a figure of the stereotypical old money. Gatsby here is a figure of the stereotypical new money. And so that kind of makes it a bit heated to them. And then you add the whole Daisy chick into the mix, and that just makes everything even more complicated and intense, unnecessarily intense and complicated. So that kind of just comes to a head in this chapter and breaks out. So anywho, I hope you appreciated those 3 themes. Maybe you can apply them to some of the other works. I'm not sure who is talking after me, but here you are. Take it away, Jack, or Josh, or Will.